was a buddy troll, an actual troll, or just someone genuinely invested in Daniel, but those two spent a disturbing amount of time together. But now things are going right back to normal, because Clark at one point said he'd never talk to Daniel again, would never call him again. And that all changed when Daniel started making more and more calls to people, so Clark felt like it was alright to go back and chill with Daniel again. So he does. He calls him almost every day, and he posts it to his own YouTube channel. And, what you're about to hear today, ladies and gentlemen, is some of the wildest tales Daniel's told yet, and also some accusations that are quite heavy, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Let's start where these calls begin, though. Just about 2 weeks ago, Clark called Daniel, and the following conversation ensued.
Are you still leaking the phone calls, or did that stop?
No,
I know that the leaking of the phone calls was a big problem.
I have not, but I did see the call that Nicholas put out the other day, because you keep calling me I like either Clark, a.k.a. Griffin, or Griffin, a.k.a. Clark.
Yeah, but your name is Griffin, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's because when looking at it from a legal perspective, right, they need to know. You don't call me crazy.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, I agree.
I feel like I'm feeling like this entire situation, the reason why I made the threat, I feel like Bob was on purpose in conversation with the Vanderwalls. I believe he's lied to me. I believe he's in contact at this point. All along, right? And he lied to me saying he wasn't. And I believe that he pretty much chose, as well as the Vanderwalls, to keep me homeless until I said something, which was the threat, right? And so I would get arrested by the feds. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I don't get why he would do that.
So the courts could get me housing.
Oh,
Because the Vanderwalls do not have charges against me for the threats I made, and we already know Tina promised me that she would help.
that is true.
So Daniel tells Clark, who he refers to as Griffin, his real name, that look, he has to use real names because then he doesn't want the feds to think he's crazy by calling him these wild internet names like Clark, right? He said Nicholas there for a while. That's a little sippy, Daniel is on a first name basis with all these people, and he wants to let the feds know about it. And it's crazy. It's so funny that this man says, look, I don't want people to think I'm crazy, but here's the deal. I think Bob, Tina, and Grace are all teaming up. My father figure, the celebrity who I have a delusional relationship with who doesn't want anything to do with me, and that woman's mother, all teamed up to basically encourage Daniel to say all those crazy threats he did that got him put in jail. And why did they do this? To get him housing. Bob couldn't ever buy him a house. Grace couldn't use the thousands of dollars, maybe even millions to her name, to buy Daniel a house. So they all agreed that the best course of action would be hey, say some wild shit about the government, Daniel. And he did. And now, technically, he does have housing.
You know that Bob got angry and said, stop talking to Griffin.
Yeah.
So, and I told him, I'm on the phone with Grace, and he's like, no, you're not, and all this crazy stuff, and I'm like, oh shit. He has something against the Vanderwalls. I don't know what it is. I don't want to be judgmental when it comes to that, but I feel like somewhere along the line, somebody started telling me that I was in contact with impersonators, claiming to be Grace in the label. I don't think there was ever impersonators.
Now, despite having so many impersonators of everyone in his life, I truly believe that's the real Bob Proctor, saying, dude, you're not talking to Grace. And Daniel's like, oh shit, his words, that he can't believe that Bob, someone who is in their right mind, is telling him that Grace isn't real. And then he's saying that he doesn't even think there's ever been a Grace impersonator. This man he used to, before he went to jail, would get 50 texts or more from any Grace Vanderwall any day. And he would say things like, well, I guess she changed her phone number again, like she changes her number 50 times a day. The excuse is probably just, I'm so famous that I have to do this, Daniel. One of the funniest things he's ever said was talking on a phone call from jail. I don't remember which one it is, but he says, yeah, when was the last time you talked to Grace? And Danny says, well, It was probably the last time like a year ago, and what was weird was she was talking in a British accent. He's so naive to everything. He has such strong feelings for this woman that he's willing to just throw every type of factual thing that happens to him, any like weird like happening with Grace, you know, when she randomly has a British accent, all that is out the window. He knows it's her, he believes it's her because he wants it to be her so bad. Yeah, Daniel has like a wicked case of mental illness, but this is something that he just wants more than anything in life, and nobody is going to convince him that that's not true.
I guess one of the other inmates in the jail did steal one of my papers of my legal discovery, which had Grace's address. So she needs to be careful because other people are going to try to send her letters impersonating me.
Jeez, okay, that could be something bad.
She might be accidentally sending letters or something, I don't know, to the wrong person. I don't even know.
I love how he's now afraid that Grace's address is going to get out because it's in his legal discovery, and people are going to start messaging her or sending her letters pretending to be Daniel. Like, could you imagine how horrible that would be? Like, how terrible would that be for someone to fake being you and sending someone else letters? Like, what would that do to that person? It'd probably make him go fucking crazy.
I'm just waiting. I'm kind of pissed off at the court lawyer for keeping me incompetent. They were manipulating me as well, saying one thing, and then it's like, well, in my mind, I was like, you can't really do that. And then they're like, well, anything else, because we can't talk about this anymore. And they shut me down.
Yeah, that can be frustrating.
Well, that's illegal.
True.
From their point of view. So, I mean, even though they're doing it, I can still sue. Especially if I get out. And I've already got the paperwork. I also told on the phone call to Nicholas that I was going to sue Bob. Which probably, if he got word of that, that probably pissed him off.
So Daniel's pissed off at just about everybody. He's saying that he's mad at the courts because they deemed him incompetent, and I wonder why that is. Like, it's, Daniel, he's not all there. He can't hear himself talk. Like, if anyone else heard this phone call, they'd be like, dude, this guy's totally incompetent. Like, this guy is out there. He wants to sue Bob for some reason. He also wants to sue the courts because when he went to, like, the doctor or someone, they told him, we don't want to talk about this anymore. Do you have anything else to say? And I assume that's in relation to just a bunch of Grace Vanderwall talk. Now, I'm not a doctor, nor a therapist, or a psychiatrist. I am none of that. But I'll tell you this much. It just seems to me like if he's bringing that stuff up and they're getting annoyed, it's probably because, again, he brings it up all the time, just like on these phone calls. And maybe for him to get deemed competent, that's one of the things they want to hear, is for Daniel to say, yes, I understand, I was never talking to Grace Vanderwall, these were always trolls, I've never been in contact with Grace Vanderwall, Tina messaged me one time to tell me to fuck off, other than that, I've never been in contact with Tina, and once he does that, they'll be like, alright, let's start the process.
For the phone stuff, so I could use the phone and call people, they found her number in the phone thing, okay, on the computer, and they decided to call her, and Grace threatened a restraining order. I have not spoken to her since I've been arrested, or at all, okay? I don't know what is going on with that. My public defender, like I said, will not tell me anything, because I just haven't spoken to her since I've been in custody, maybe not even this year, I don't know. But I've been threatened now over a restraining order by them.
Jeez.
I don't know what's going on, but SIS is just going haywire. And SIS here at the jail threatened to throw me in the shoe over Grace. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's some type of attack. But I am to a point to where I feel like I'm being completely taken advantage of. Not only prior to me coming in jail, but now that I'm in jail, I feel the same.
So again, Daniel repeats that the real Grace was apparently contacted, and you know what, for the first time in like maybe forever, she probably was. If her number or whatever is found in his legal discovery, and when they got in contact with her, she writes that she wants to get a restraining order, I don't think that's like a troll. I feel like if a troll got a call from like the FBI, they'd probably just hang up the phone. Like I said, maybe I'm assuming too much, but them being like, yeah, we want a restraining order on this guy makes it sound a lot like they probably contacted Real Grace over this. He even mentions that he almost got thrown in the shoe for this, and I'd imagine that if he's talking this much about Grace on the calls with Lil Sippy and Clark, he's probably talking this much about them while in the prison too. Now, this call is about a few weeks old, and Daniel doesn't know what's about to happen to him in, like, the next month with him getting transferred, so at the end there, he keeps bringing up how he needs to get out before the end of December, because that was something he kept chirping for quite a while, and while, again, everyone thought it was all going to be false, it really may have happened. I can't imagine what Daniel's reaction was when they told him he was getting transferred. He probably just, the loss of hope in this man's heart was probably just so sad for him.
Also, to go along with that, one of the COs got on the loudspeaker for the entire unit, told me yesterday to pack all of my belongings and that I was leaving.
Jeez, so they were trying to get you kicked out of the unit, but then...
No, it was the correction officers that got on the loudspeaker for the entire pod, okay, and told me that to pack my belongings. For the courts to file two things over the weekend, on a holiday weekend, is very, very suspicious, let alone the fact that they said that they were going to, my court, my public defender was going to send in a motion if I'm not moved by the end of January, or the end of December.
Yeah, December 30th. Yeah.
The 31st, then I would be getting out, right?
Yeah, they need to...
He said, but then for it to be a new 4 months, right? A new 4 months, and then they cancel it and say, no, we're not doing another 4 months, so he's getting out at the end of the 31st, December 31st, once again, to me, is very suspicious. Why don't they just drop the case now?
And again, it's not the first time he's mentioned the prisoners or even the guards messing with him. Over the loudspeaker, the guards are telling him to leave, pack your stuff up, Daniel, just to go, nah, nah, sorry, bud, sucks for you. Sit back down there and enjoy some more prison. If they really are doing that, I imagine even the prisoners, the cell across from him are getting a kick out of that shit. Somebody in that jail had to know about Daniel, and then when he went there, it spread the word, and it spread like wildfire. The prisoners, the guards, maybe even visitors, who knows, the janitor, everyone is probably just having a field day with Daniel Larson in there. You bring up Grace, he probably loses his goddamn mind. And that's not the only time you're going to hear about interactions with these COs or the prisoners. In fact, it gets way, way worse later in the video, because I haven't been talking about this much yet, but Daniel is about to drop a bombshell.
I mean, you said you got punched in the face, but then you kind of told Nicholas that you punched yourself, so did you actually punch yourself, or did you get punched? Okay.
But that was over a couple days ago, and I talked to Psych.
Okay.
And Psych told me that, believe it or not, my mental health is doing phenomenal. They said my mental health is doing phenomenal, and I just sat there and laughed at them when I came back to my cell. I was like, my mental health is declining, and you guys are saying it's getting better?
That's
So what is it? What's going on now? And that's when I really started to raise red flags as to what they're teaching.
Look, Daniel is a notorious liar, or he sees the world in a different way than, everyone else sees it. But if they really told him, oh man, dude, you got some gnarly bruises on your face. You punched yourself? Oh, shit, that's pretty hardcore. Well, I'm looking at your papers here, and it seems like you're doing awesome, bro. Seems like you're great. You're actually one of the most stable people here. What did they tell him? How in any world would they be like, you are doing phenomenal, Daniel. Just keep it up. Your mental health is getting better every single day. I think the most likely answer here is that they did not say that to him. But the fact that Daniel is even is even trying to say they did is wild.
Yeah.
It's very, very weird. Since Trump got in office, they've switched their motive on everything to, oh, he's doing great, he's doing phenomenal. And then I start getting all these correction officers randomly threatening me and saying, don't talk to Grace. It's pretty much a threatening Grace if you really think about it.
And do they go
and
through...
I'm sitting here going I never really talk. I don't know what they're talking about. then you tell me that the 2 motions came out for my release or whatever, and that makes absolutely no sense. So why do I have to wait 31-ish days now until the 1st of January before I walk through this door? Because that's after the holiday. And that
This call is from a federal prison.
would most likely be the soonest time after New Year's that they would just walk me out the door here.
It's almost, it's almost like they're trying to give you a little bit of false hope, which is almost wrong.
They're trying to give me false hope, and that's almost wrong. I agree with that 100%.
And you see, that's what I'm talking about, man. He was so dead set on getting out of prison before the end of December, and now that he knows he's transferred, it's probably killing the guy. Daniel is he is confirming that there's clearly some grand conspiracy here. In his mind, he should have been let loose a long time ago. He keeps using the excuse that the threats he made were only to get housing, and for that reason alone, he should get out of there. But clearly, if you listen to these phone calls, he hasn't changed a bit. You know what would happen if he got out of jail tomorrow? He would run, probably get a flight right to LA and look for Grace Vanderwall. That's how obsessed with her he is right now. And he was always obsessed with Grace. You could look on his old community tab and he'd write about her 100 times a day. And that's probably what this is to him now. Because he has no place to write out his feelings, he's just going to talk about Grace non-stop. Really, this dude belongs nowhere but behind bars.
And that's what's affecting my mental health at this point. I've known they've been doing this way since my public defender said that I would be getting out and I would be transferred. When that didn't happen, I started to already look at red flags as of 3 months ago. And then I started talking to the unit case manager about, hey, can you schedule a legal call? And he started saying no.
Weird.
And then he went on vacation for 2 weeks. And when he came back, he was only back for a day. And then he went on vacation again. And I was like, this is turning into definitely me being taken advantage of. And I'm not going to let that slide.
Yeah, Danny's been talking about having problems getting in touch with his public defender for months now. At one point, I'm not even sure he's seen him since, but Daniel claimed he hasn't even seen him since about when the guy first talked to him the first time they ever met when he got arrested. And now he tried to get in touch with him at this extremely crucial time, and the guy's going on back-to-back vacations. But as many would imagine, with Daniel Larson as your client, it's probably really tough to talk to him. He wants to probably just talk about Grace. He wants to plead not guilty, get out of there, go right back to Grace. Tell the judge that I need to be on tour with her soon. That's probably all this shit he's given this guy. So it's probably a hassle just to talk to Daniel, and he's probably looking at any reason to not ever have to go there and see this guy. But you see, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned a bombshell earlier, and that's exactly what you're going to see right now. I remember hearing about this a few days back, and I was just shocked, because, you probably will be too, because if Daniel is to be believed, well, I'm just going to let you hear it for yourself.
Oh, no, and is your cellmate still messing with you, or have you gotten dealt with?
That situation is under control.
Okay.
I got a new cellmate.
Did they let you,
I was with a previous cellmate that did rape me, but I reported it.
Would he touch you? What the hell, Daniel?
Well, it was a lot more than just that, but he held me down and wouldn't let me move or whatever and tried to do some stuff, but I reported it, and that day, well, another thing is the jail, sexual abuse, whatever, report people, they dropped that case and said it never happened. Because they didn't have proof, so that pisses me off too.
Yeah, that's wrong. Did they let you?
They did move me out of that cell, and that guy actually got out of jail. He left to the halfway house.
Weird.
So that's not good either.
No, that's
if
like.
he goes to the same halfway house I was supposed to go to, then that's a safety concern.
Alright, so basically what Daniel is saying here is that he got essayed by his former cellmate. Now, everything we're about to talk about is just a mess, because here we go. On one hand, is Daniel telling the truth? You know Daniel, he has tall tales all the time. We've heard a lot of them throughout this phone call, and Daniel is admitted before to have said a lot of crazy things just to get what he wants. Maybe he said that to get out of that situation of having that guy as a cellmate. But if it did happen, that's incredibly messed up. Daniel is what he is, but like, it's just, you never want to see that like happen to someone, And the weirder thing is, if he is telling the truth and this guy got out of jail shortly after and is now at a halfway house somewhere, yeah, that's a terrible move on the part of the prison. Daniel says they found no wrongdoing, so if they did an investigation, didn't find nothing, I mean, there's that. But it's just a really horrible situation all around. If Daniel's lying about this, then, it's a terrible thing to do. If he's telling the truth, then dear God, like, I mean, I know that this is prison and all. Jesus, why going after Daniel Larson? I'm not trying to make light of this situation. It's a fucked up mess, but what is going on there? He starts going into detail a bit, but then just doesn't want to talk about it, and that makes me think maybe he's a bit perturbed. I don't know what's going on there, if he's telling the truth, if he's not. You guys let me know what you think about this in the comments, but I'll tell you this much. He decided to make another call to Clark just the other day from Oklahoma. Now, I did not think Daniel was going to be able to call from like this little layover place he's at, but he is, and Clark uploaded a new phone call, which we're going to listen to now. Daniel doesn't bring this up like at all, but he gives a little bit of insight into how he's going to get to Springfield. It's just, after bringing this up, he gets right off the subject and seemingly hasn't brought it up again.
Okay, so I'm in Oklahoma because they don't transfer direct.
Okay.
I went on a private jet with the feds, okay, from Denver to Oklahoma with about 200 people on the plane. It's like a private commercial jet.
Jeez.
And there was like 20 officers on the plane, and they were, I guess, trained also as flight attendants, but they were actual, like, fed officers. And the flight was an hour and a half. I landed in Oklahoma City, and then I got here to Cimarron Correctional Facility. And I'm going to be here until the flight, until I guess they can schedule, because there's only 3 planes for the feds. When the next plane goes from Cimarron to Springfield, then that's the plane I'm going to be on.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's what some people were talking about online, that you're just in a holding, and then they'll move you to Missouri in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
So I brought it up in the beginning of the video, but there's the confirmation from Daniel that he was flown on a private jet. Now, when he first mentioned that, I was like, nice job, Daniel. Maybe like a nice little, like an 8-seater where it was like him across from some prison guards. But no, it was a 747 with like prison guards and like 200 fucking inmates. And really, I don't know why, but for a second I was like, man, he's living the life before they take him to the mental institution. But no, at least he gets to see a new state though, kind of. He's apparently being transferred to Missouri and then to Springfield. So Danny's got a little bit of traveling to do. Not long flights, but it's a lot of layovers.
So I finally got a hold of Bob. Okay. Once again, I'm not going to be talking about him because he doesn't want that.
Okay.
So first of all, you know the reason why I made the threat.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep talking about that. I'm kind of pissed off at kind of everybody in a way, because I felt like everybody was just talking and not actually doing or owning up to what they were saying. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
So I felt like I had to make the threat to be able to get off the street. And I realized that I shouldn't have done it. I don't think I can be held accountable for the threat because it was court-ordered by probation that I was on, the misdemeanor probation for housing. And my probation officer kept holding it off, which he shouldn't have done.
That's true.
So I do blame probation in a way.
He's just blaming everybody, I'm hearing a lot of talking and not enough doing, guys. Speaking to Bob, Grace, Tina. Well, fake Grace and Tina. And I think that's the real Bob. Because Bob must be, made aware that his name was being spoken about by Daniel in these calls. Daniel was saying a lot of fucked up shit about him. But now it seems like the real Bob is in contact with him and is just saying, yo, just don't talk about me on the phone in front of anyone else. And then he goes right back to the complaining about, I only said those threats to get housing. And he always blames that on Bob. saying that if Bob had just paid for his house, then Daniel wouldn't have done this. It's the most asinine claim he can make, kind of like, look at the situation I'm in, and it's all because you didn't just shell out $1,000 a month for my rent. He's such a salty little bastard over that. He just blames everyone. At the end there, he blames his probation for something. Like, it's never Danny's fault. And that's why he wanted Bob to do something so bad about him getting out of prison. Really thought Bob would have a say in this by maybe going down to the jail and being like, listen now, that Daniel's a good kid, you let him out. And then just being like, oh, gosh, sir, you know, with your recommendation, you know, you got it, Mr. Proctor.
But I was also knowing the situation with Tina and Grace, and even you. And I wanted to really kind of set my foot down and really say, look, I care about this probably more than people think I do. I care about the relationship. I care about my future. I don't want to be on the streets anymore. And that's why I kind of I felt like I had to draw the line to bring everybody together.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And, well, thank you. I do realize that there might have been trolling in the past or whatever. I'm kind of pissed off at my family. I'm not going to mention names. I'm just kind of pissed off at my biological and some of my friends for blaming people without really knowing anything, and then them blaming other people without really knowing any information, because it's not getting us anywhere. And I think we live in an already judgmental world, and we don't need more of that.
No, I 100% agree with you. Everything was just kind of going crazy, and then when the feds got involved, and then, of course, you have a Reddit that's constantly posting your every move, where you are, what you're doing, making fake things.
And I don't think Bob even realized that it was really that. And I don't think he realized that fans were actually showing up at the location. He thought that, or just, there, wherever I was. I think he was thinking I was actually posting my location, which I wasn't doing when I was with him.
That's true.
So I think there was a big family miscommunication going on, and they just didn't believe me.
And now he's doing it again with being mad at everybody in his life for his own problems. He brings up Grace, Tina, even Griffin. And like Daniel said, he's putting his foot down. Because he doesn't like that all these people are calling him and writing him letters, even if it's fake people who are pretending to be Grace and Tina. But he thinks people need to do more for him. He talked about it earlier again, that there's a lot of talking but not enough action. And he thinks for some reason that one of them can just stroll down to the jail, pick him up, and get out of there. I still, months later, don't think that he understands the gravity of his situation. Seems like every month he's just thinking he's going to get out the next month. And now with him getting transferred, he's going to be at that Springfield facility for at least minimum 4 months, and he'll be able to make calls, I assume, so we'll be able to hear his troubles in there. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot of the same, him blaming other people for his actions, and then saying crazy shit like, yes, I still want a future, yes, I still care about Grace. Like, that's all he's thinking about, is a music career in the future with Grace. And like, he's got so many problems on his plate right now that he just wants to push to the wayside, all these mental evaluations, I don't need them, I'm fine, just let me get out there and perform music in London at Wembley with Grace Vanderwall. Like, that's what the problem is, Daniel. Once you stop with that shit, you'll get out. But again, it's like it's talking to a brick wall. He will never, ever believe that he's not really talking to the real Grace. So we're kind of stuck at a crossroads here. I will be really interested to see how long Daniel stays at this place, because I can't ever see them taking this away from him, especially when people like Clark and Little Sippy are calling him and reinforcing it into his head.
But anyways, my public defender did say when I first got arrested that I wouldn't know anything about Tina or Grace or further information until I get deemed competent. Okay. I wish it was.
Warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing. Okay. We don't know where they are. Maybe somebody does, but nobody really knows where these are. And I speak with some pretty high-level government officials on this stuff, and it seems as though that is the case. So I spoke to a gentleman a few months ago who was trying to raise an alarm to the highest levels of our government, which they had their ears closed, about this one particular nuclear warhead that he physically put his hands on. He physically touched this warhead that was left over from Ukraine. And he knew that that thing was headed towards the United States. Okay? That is a very serious deal. And everyone knows that the United States government, this administration, is pushing to get into a war with Russia. We all know that. We all feel it. We all see it. Okay? Well, back up a few years. Do y'all remember when those drones were mysteriously flying across the Interstate 70 corridor from Colorado up into Nebraska, down here into Kansas, and out into Missouri? Well, it was believed that those drones were looking for radioactive material because there had been some material that came up missing here in the United States, and they felt like it was high probability that the nuclear or the radioactive material would be taken along the Interstate 70 corridor heading east or west or south. So from what we understand, they were out there trying to find this radioactive material. Now, drones, they have no reason to be in the air at night unless you're doing some type of ISR work, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, looking for bad guys, or looking for a victim, a search and rescue victim, or law enforcement, or some type of military project, right? There's no reason for a drone to be flying at night, really, okay? Because they don't see shit. So, unless you have thermal optics, drones really don't see stuff. You need to do mapping during the day. If you're going to do farming stuff, you mostly do it during the day. The only reason why you would ever fly an aircraft, an unmanned aircraft at night, is if you're looking for something, whether it be a person. You really wouldn't use thermal optics for trying to find gas leaks, just simply because the only way you're actually going to find a gas leak with thermal optics is if the gas leak is aggressive enough that it has a difference in temperature. Because thermal imaging,
You get the gist. I don't know if we need to watch the whole thing. What are your thoughts so far?
I think it's more credible than aliens.
Yeah.
I'm scared shitless because if there's nukes loose in the United States, I think, Jordy, you're going to be fine where you live. Keem, you'd be fine where you live. I live next to the fucking Walmart headquarters. Now, I know they'll bomb much bigger places as well, but it makes absolute sense to take out our infrastructure, and Walmart is our infrastructure.
Well, listen, before this guy came out with this video, there's been multiple different theories that they think these are drones that detect a gamma. On Twitter, there was a big thread. That account doesn't exist anymore. Canadian Prepper, popular YouTuber, he put out that theory last night on his channel, or yesterday on his channel, midday, I think it was. This is the leading theory of what's going on with these drones right now.
I think it's accurate. I do still think there's alien technology promoting those drones. I do think it's still tied to first contact, but I will absolutely give it 110%. This seems to make a lot of sense.
It's not good. It's fucking scary. Potentially they're looking for a smuggled nuclear fucking device in the United States.
I brought this up on one of my solo streams. I'm glad you bring it up on your streams as well. I think it's important that people are informed about this. They understand that this is happening, that these are real credible things, because I'm sorry to lecture, but the world is changing so quickly now, and you just need to be ready for the next change. You just need to be aware that it's happening.
All right, guys, we only have like 14 minutes, 13 minutes left. We're going to do a text-to-speech blitz. So if you want to donate now with your opinions on anything 20 or more will be read by text-to-speech. Here we go.
Hey, super chatted $20. Flamin' star in hell chewing up some mushrooms.
Ugh.
Ty super chatted $20. What's up, guys? After watching the BO6 stream last night, I got inspired and bought it, and after playing from 4 hours I've come to the conclusion I'm very much out of practice LMAO.
Oh, I thought he was going to say
Big W to wings. Keep up the good content.
Nice, thanks,
CMS
brother.
super chatted $20. The light that burns twice as bright burns half as long, and you have burned so very, very bright L. The after show super chatted $19.99. Shout out Icy. Loved having you on the show last night.
He just says, by the way, the after show, the whole point of them saying anything in the chat is to promote the after show. The whole point of them fucking doing any donation is to promote the fucking after show. And it's like so on the nose. Like, try to be sneakier about it because it's like, it's kind of pathetic, but whatever. I appreciate the money in the sport.
Fallen Angel 69_69 super chatted $20. Sam's Yaba's wife. She's in chat. She said she's coming.
Nice. Nice. Thank you for the dono, Sam's wife, Yaba's wife.
Telperian super chatted $22.41. What are these glasses? Did he rob Elton John? The after show super chatted $19.99. Her cancer is real. She uploaded a video to IG explaining her story, which makes his actions even more deplorable.
Well, now I got my foot in my mouth. The after show donated it and didn't do a self-promotion. There it was right there.
Thank you, Ken.
Telperian super chatted $22.41. If Boogie has money problems, he should consider selling his magic scale. That thing can do anything. Liam O'Brien super chatted $19.99. Boogie is big lard talking S to fey girls all day. Masmel 12 super chatted $20. Big fan wings and keen.
No Boogie. Boogie does get no flower.
I know. I saw that.
James
Every time.
Ty super chatted $20. I'm back after more practice and I'm much better with snipers and DMRs than automatics.
We're just getting updates on his Call of Duty
Video
status.
games super chatted $20. Enjoying the show. It reminds me of that really good show called The After Show with Ken, Zeph, and Complexity. Such a great show.
It's truly a great show.
Yeah, definitely much love to the after show or any fan created shows that want to talk about what happens on Locale Live, like the after show. I appreciate you, but I'm making my own after show. It's called Locale Rewind. All right, but we'll still give you love always. I don't get offended by me doing my own recap show, but it's so necessary for the
we got 10 minutes and let people keep donating, please. I'd love to see your feedback about today's episode. But we got a lot of requests to see us just like bro out like we did with the camp. And I think we should, when we get a chance towards the end of a lot of streams, we just sit down and bullshit for a little while. We don't have time today, but I think that's important. I don't know. What do you think?
What, do you think I'm your friend?
They like it when we at least pretend to be friends. And yeah, you're going to be the best man at my wedding, motherfucker. We better be friends by then.
Speaking about weddings, are we buying the plane tickets?
Oh, that reminds me. Yeah, are we going to Dallas at the beginning of the year? I've sent you both the link.
Yeah, I'm waiting on you guys for buy the plane tickets.
Can we get the guy like on the show at some point? Because we should talk to him again.
I'll send him a message right now. But we have a wedding to go to now. With your permission, I'm going to schedule driving down there to at least represent us. We promised we'd go. If you guys are going to go, I think that'd be cool too.
Me and Brantley are going to the wedding. We're going to the wedding, and we're going to the wedding. We're going to film content at one of our fans' wedding, and this is in January, right? We're doing. I'm down. I just haven't seen I haven't seen the guy since, so I thought maybe he changed his mind.
Nope. I sent you both the link in private DMs. I'm looking for it again right now. Let's hit that RSVP and let them know we're coming so they can set us a seat.
Okay. Well,
I just wanted to know so I can buy the plane tickets ahead of time.
Shit, I'm doing the best man speech. No,
I'm excited, dude. That's really cool. And by the way, if you guys are out there and you are part of the community, there's always a chance we could do something like this. And we would love to. We love you guys.
Go to your wedding. All right, I got to do these donos.
Moundmaker69 super chatted $20. Hope everyone is well. Bless the family.
Thank you. All right, guys, we went through so many stories tonight. Any final words, Wings and Boogie?
I got one. The Lol Cow Kings thing, there's
Mhm.
actually two different channels. The first one you clicked on had 2,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
The one Big Homie runs has 5 subscribers.
Okay.
There's two
Yeah.
different channels called Lol Cow Kings.
Okay. Well, I'm not trying to shut anyone's channel down unless they're like stealing from me, but that logo is way too close. Change your logo, weirdos.
I want to say that me and Desi are going to be watching Lol Cow Queens, and I've talked a lot of shit. And I'm going to tell you right here, right now, that it's going to be a fucking disaster, but it's going to be an entertaining disaster. You put together a good team. I think Becky's more competent than we think. She's going to be hosting.